time travel is what I call situations when people with dementia just can't cope with situations because they're living at that moment in time, part of their lives which happened decades before, and the circumstances don't make sense to them. Some of you may have seen the film The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Brad Pitt plays this person who was born as an old man, and as he gets older he actually gets younger. And the film works because by the time he gets older he actually gets dementia. So even though he's getting smaller and smaller, he's actually behaving more like a child and reverting to childish behaviour. Now, it's not politically acceptable to say that people with dementia behave like children or enter a second childhood. But children often get accepted and treated with far more patience and tolerance than people with dementia. One is happy to help a child to learn to eat with a knife and fork, or one reminds them to go to the toilet before having a meal. One doesn't expect things that are unreasonable of them. So if it helps to think about people with dementia like that, why not? How would you treat someone who is younger? The trouble is we look older and it confuses you. But people who are in time travel might be confused because they'll understand perhaps who their son or daughter is, but not the spouse, because they're remembering them from a time before they were married. Or they might not recognise the grandchildren because they're in a time when their grandchildren weren't born. Or they might wonder where someone is who's actually died, and it can be very confusing for them. But it might not affect all aspects of their life at the same time. Now, sundowning is another term that's used for people with dementia tend to be worse late afternoon. Now, a lot of the authorities say that this is due to memory problems and it's the light change, but I don't think it is, because I've seen people have severe sundowning problems in the middle of summer. Again, here where I live, I see many other folk with dementia, and I see it, and it's not that. In the past, the end of the afternoon was a very busy, stressful time for us. If you're a woman, perhaps you were getting the children from school, preparing the meal for when the husband gets home. If you were at work, it would be finishing off things, perhaps ready to negotiate the rush hour. It was often a difficult time of day, and stress and anything like that always makes dementia worse. There's a gentleman here who, at the end of the afternoon, his wife brought him along and said, "Please tell him that I am his wife." Well, that wasn't helpful to tell him that, because he couldn't remember. He was remembering her as she used to be when she was younger, with a different colour hair, didn't wear glasses, and one just needed to reassure him, "Don't worry, your wife will be there in the morning. You know, I'm looking after you at the moment. You don't need to tell lies. You can get round it somehow." Another time he'd come along to me and say, "I can't find the children to put them to bed." "Don't need to worry," I'd say. "Your wife's got that under control," which she had. So there are ways of getting round the sundowning.